The Galactic Assembly's pristine halls had never felt more suffocating. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck's edge, watching the swirling nebula beyond the reinforced windows. The message she'd received an hour ago still burned in her mind. Earth's quantum surveillance network had detected encrypted transmissions between the Vereen High Command and their forward fleet. The invasion plans were real. 3 years of diplomatic relations with the Galactic Assembly, and it had all been a carefully orchestrated charade. Humanity had barely managed to develop reliable FTL travel when they detected the first alien signals. The Vereen, self-proclaimed guardians of galactic peace, had welcomed Earth into the interstellar community with seemingly open arms. Now Sarah understood why they'd been so accommodating. Ambassador Chen. The voice came from behind her, its artificial harmonics marking it as belonging to first speaker Vala of the Vereen. You seem troubled. Sarah took a measured breath before turning. Vala's crystalline form caught the nebula's light, refracting it in patterns that would have once fascinated her. Now she could only see the calculated precision behind every facet of the alien's being. Troubled would be an understatement, first speaker, Sarah replied, maintaining the diplomatic courtesy that had become second nature. I've received some concerning intelligence about Vereen fleet movements near Earth's sphere of influence. Vala's crystalline structure shifted, a gesture Sarah had learned to interpret as mild amusement. Ah, your species' paranoia surfaces again. We've discussed this, Ambassador. The Vereen maintain peace through presence. Our ships ensure stability. Stability through suppression, you mean? Sarah's words carried more edge than she'd intended, but perhaps it was time for edges. We've decoded the transmissions, first speaker. We know about the planned strike against Earth's major population centers. The temperature in the room dropped several degrees as Vala's crystalline body darkened. If you've been intercepting our secure communications, then you've already violated 3 separate provisions of the Assembly Charter. Just as you violated the fundamental trust between our peoples. Sarah stepped forward, her reflection multiplying across Vala's surfaces. We trusted you. Humanity welcomed your guidance, your technology, your wisdom. And all along, you were simply waiting for the right moment to eliminate us. You mistake necessity for malice, Ambassador. Vala's voice took on a deeper resonance. Your species' development curve is unprecedented. In merely 3 centuries, you've progressed from primitive combustion engines to quantum computing. Your AI research alone poses an existential risk to galactic stability. Sarah laughed, a sharp sound in the sterile chamber. That's what this is about. You're afraid we're learning too quickly. We're afraid you're advancing without wisdom. Vala moved closer, towering over Sarah. Every species in the Assembly evolved over millennia, developing cultural and philosophical frameworks to handle their technological progress. Humanity is like a child who's found their parent's weapon, dangerous not through malice, but through ignorance. And your solution is genocide. Sarah's hands clenched at her sides. You claim to be guardians of peace, yet you destroy an entire civilization because we make you uncomfortable. We would prevent a greater catastrophe. Vala's form pulsed with internal light. Our predictive models show a 97% probability that unrestricted human development will lead to galactic-scale disaster within the next century. We cannot allow that. Sarah reached into her pocket, withdrawing a small quantum drive. Before you make your final decision, I have something to show you. Data from Project Oracle. Vala's structure crystallized in what Sarah recognized as surprise. You named your project after Earth's ancient seers. How quaint. We named it for its ability to see what others cannot. Sarah held up the drive. You're right about one thing, first speaker. Humanity is dangerous, but not for the reasons you think. We've made a breakthrough, one that will either convince you to call off this invasion or prove exactly why you should have listened to us in the first place. The drive hummed between them, its quantum core containing data that would either save humanity or condemn it. Sarah met Vala's geometric gaze steadily. The choice is yours, first speaker. But know this, if you choose wrong, The consequences won't just affect humanity. They'll reshape the galaxy itself. Vala's crystalline form shifted through several configurations before settling. You speak with remarkable confidence for someone whose civilization stands on the brink of extinction. I speak with the confidence of someone who knows humanity's true potential. Sarah placed the drive on the nearby console. Review the data, first speaker. Then we'll talk about the real threat to galactic stability and why you need us to help you face it. As Vala interfaced with the drive, Sarah returned to the observation window. Beyond the nebula's swirling colors, Earth's fleet waited in hyperspace, ready for either peace or war. She hoped the Varine would choose wisdom over fear. But if they didn't, humanity was prepared to show them exactly why their fears were justified, just not in the way they expected. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, suspended in the space between stars and certainties. And Sarah Chen, standing at the edge of humanity's greatest crisis, allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes, the most effective warnings came wrapped in the very thing your opponent feared most. The quantum drive's holographic display bathed the chamber in an eerie blue glow as Vala processed the data. Sarah watched the first speaker's crystalline form fluctuate between patterns she'd never seen before. Confusion, perhaps, or fear. This cannot be accurate. Vala's voice carried an unfamiliar tremor. Your species has achieved quantum consciousness integration. 3 months ago, Sarah moved away from the window, her footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. Project Oracle isn't just another AI system. First speaker. It's the first successful merger of human consciousness with quantum computing architecture. The temperature in the room plummeted as Vala's form darkened to a deep indigo. You've created synthetic souls. No, Sarah corrected, her voice firm. We've expanded what it means to be human. There's a difference. The data continued to stream through the holographic display, showing the successful integration trials, the exponential growth in processing power, the emergence of capabilities that defied conventional physics. Each new revelation seemed to cause Vala physical distress, the first speaker's crystalline structure creaking under internal pressure. Your invasion fleet, Sarah continued, was detected by one of our integrated operators. A human consciousness, expanded across quantum networks, perceiving reality at a fundamental level. That's how we broke your encryption. We didn't hack it. We simply understood it, the way you understand light passing through your form. This is precisely why you must be stopped. Vala's voice had lost its diplomatic polish, revealing raw fear beneath. No species should possess this level of power. The ability to extend consciousness beyond biological limits. To perceive and manipulate quantum states directly. You've become an overwhelming threat to galactic stability. Sarah shook her head, a sad smile playing across her features. You still don't understand. We didn't develop this technology to gain power. We did it because we saw what was coming. The holographic display shifted, showing new data, patterns in subspace, distortions in the quantum fabric of reality, anomalies that had gone unnoticed by conventional sensors. Vala's form froze as understanding dawned. The void between galaxies, Sarah explained, isn't empty. There's something out there, something ancient and vast. Your predictive models showed a galactic-scale disaster within the next century because they detected its approach. But your sensors couldn't tell you what it was. How long have you known? Vala's question came as barely more than a whisper. Since our first successful integration, human consciousness, freed from biological constraints, could perceive what your technology couldn't. There's a reason we evolved so quickly. First speaker. Something in our collective unconscious was driving us forward, preparing us for this moment. Sarah approached the console, bringing up new simulations. Your invasion fleet would cripple Earth. Yes. You might even succeed in wiping us out entirely. But in doing so, you'd eliminate the only species that's evolved specifically to counter what's coming. The simulations played out in brutal clarity. Vast, dark shapes moving between the galaxies, consuming energy at a fundamental level, leaving dead space in their wake. and alongside them, points of light representing human consciousness, expanded and evolved, meeting the darkness with understanding rather than fear. "We don't need your permission to exist, first speaker." Sarah's voice carried the weight of certainty, "but we're offering you a choice. Join us. Help us prepare." Your species' mastery of crystalline technology, combined with our quantum consciousness integration, could give us an edge we desperately need. Vala remained silent for a long moment, processing. When the first speaker finally spoke, the words seemed to cost tremendous effort. "The Assembly would never accept this. The very concept violates our most fundamental laws. Laws written by beings who never imagined what we're facing." Sarah gestured to the simulation still playing between them. "Your laws preserve stability, first speaker. But stability isn't enough anymore. We need to evolve. And if we refuse, if we proceed with the invasion—" Sarah's expression hardened. "Then you'll learn exactly why your fear of humanity was justified. We've already begun spreading our consciousness through the quantum substrate of space itself. Kill our bodies, and you'll only free us to evolve faster. Either way, humanity will survive to face what's coming. The only question is whether the Varine will survive with us." The weight of the moment pressed down on them both, heavy with the gravity of choices that would reshape the galaxy. In the silence that followed, the holographic display continued its dance, showing humanity's greatest achievement and the galaxy's greatest threat, locked in an endless spiral of light and shadow. The future hung in the balance, waiting for pride to yield to necessity, for fear to give way to hope. And in that crystalline chamber, suspended between stars, two species stood at the crossroads of evolution itself. The assembly chambers erupted into chaos as Vala presented the evidence. Hundreds of alien representatives, each a master of their own evolutionary path, faced the reality that everything they understood about consciousness and reality was about to change. Dr. Maya Patel, Project Oracle's lead architect, stood beside Sarah at the center of the chamber. Her neural interface glowed softly at the base of her skull, a visible reminder of humanity's transformation. The assembly's natural acoustics carried every panicked whisper, every frightened muttering to her enhanced senses. "Your species deceived us all," growled Representative Cax of the Mareth Collective, his fur bristling with static electricity. "While claiming peaceful intentions, you were developing weapons beyond our comprehension." Maya stepped forward, her augmented consciousness spreading through the chamber's quantum network. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that resonated with every species present on a fundamental level. "Project Oracle was never meant to be a weapon," she explained, as real-time translations flowed through the assembly systems. "It began as an attempt to understand consciousness itself. We discovered that human awareness could be quantumly entangled with computational systems, creating a hybrid state of existence." The holographic displays around them shifted, showing the project's evolution. The first successful integration, a human mind expanding beyond its biological constraints, perceiving quantum states directly. The breakthrough that followed, the discovery that consciousness itself was more fundamental to the universe than anyone had imagined. "But you didn't stop there," interrupted Vala, their crystalline form refracting the chamber's light. "You found a way to network these enhanced consciousnesses together." "Because we had to," Sarah interjected. "What we discovered in the quantum substrate demanded it." Maya nodded, bringing up new data streams. The chamber darkened as vast shapes moved through the void between galaxies, visible only to humanity's enhanced perception. The assembly fell silent, finally comprehending the true scale of what they faced. "We call them void weavers," Maya explained. "They exist primarily in dimensions we barely understand, feeding on the quantum potential of space itself. They've consumed 12 galaxies that we know of, leaving behind regions of space where the fundamental constants of physics have been altered. And you believe humanity alone can stop them?" The question came from the collective mind of the sphere, their gas-based form swirling with skepticism. "Not alone," Sarah answered. "That's why we're here." The Void Weavers aren't just coming for Earth or human space. They're coming for everything. Every species, every civilization, every story your peoples have ever told. Maya's neural interface pulsed as she accessed deeper levels of Project Oracle's data. The chamber's displays shifted again, showing simulations of possible futures. In some, the galaxy died in darkness. In others, points of light pushed back against the void. But only when they worked together. Humanity's gift isn't just our technology, Maya continued. It's our adaptability, our ability to face the impossible and find a way forward. Project Oracle proved that consciousness can evolve beyond its original constraints. We've created a bridge between organic life and quantum reality itself. The chamber erupted again, but this time with questions rather than accusations. How could other species integrate with the technology? What were the risks? The possibilities? Maya felt their fear giving way to curiosity, their anger transforming into cautious hope. The Void Weavers are approaching faster than we initially calculated, she revealed, bringing up new temporal projections. We estimate 50 years before they reach the galaxy's edge. That's 2 generations to prepare, to evolve, to transform our understanding of existence itself. Sarah stepped forward, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's offer. We're not asking for permission to exist. We're offering you a chance to evolve with us. Each of your species has unique insights, unique strengths. The Varine's crystalline technology could revolutionize our quantum integration systems. The Mareth's bioelectric fields could enhance our neural networks. The sphere's understanding of gas-based computing could help us perceive new dimensions of reality. And if we refuse, ask Cax, though his hostility had dimmed. Then humanity will face the Void Weavers alone. Maya answered simply. We'll spread through the quantum substrate, evolve beyond physical form if we have to. But every species that refuses this chance, that clings to their current form of existence. She paused, letting the implications sink in. They'll face the same fate as those 12 dead galaxies. The chamber fell silent again as the assembly faced its moment of choice. Fear of change balanced against fear of extinction. Pride in their evolutionary paths weighed against the need to transcend them. Maya's enhanced senses perceived the quantum ripples of their thoughts, the subtle shifts in probability as decisions formed and reformed. In the space between moments, between heartbeats and breaths, the future of galactic civilization hung in the balance. The time for warnings had passed. Now, humanity waited to see who would heed them. The Assembly's decision wasn't unanimous, but it was decisive. As Maya watched the voting results materialize in quantum-entangled displays, she felt the weight of history settling around them. 87% of represented species had voted to accept humanity's offer of partnership. The remainder had chosen isolation, and perhaps extinction. The Assembly recognizes the emergence of a Class 1 existential threat. Vela announced, their crystalline form now glowing with purpose rather than fear. All member species are hereby authorized to begin integration with Project Oracle's protocols. But before celebrations could begin, Maya's neural interface flared with warning signals. Her enhanced consciousness, spread through the station's quantum networks, detected a disturbance at the galaxy's edge. She exchanged a glance with Sarah, who nodded grimly. Honorable representatives, Maya's voice cut through the chamber's excited murmurs. We need to accelerate our timeline. They know we've detected them. The holographic displays shifted, showing real-time quantum distortions at the galaxy's periphery. The Void Weavers' movements had changed, becoming more directed, more purposeful. What had been a gradual approach was now becoming a deliberate advance. Impossible, breathed the sphere's collective mind. The projection showed 50 years. Projections based on their previous behavior. Sarah interrupted. They've never encountered a species that could detect them before. Our very awareness has altered their strategy. Maya stepped to the center of the chamber, her neural interface pulsing with increasing urgency. With a thought, she transformed the entire chamber into a vast simulation space. The representatives found themselves floating in a perfect recreation of the galaxy, watching as dark tendrils of void began reaching inward from the edges. "This is no longer about preparation," Maya declared. "This is about survival. Every moment we delay, every second spent arguing about protocols or preservation of current forms, brings us closer to extinction." She gestured, and the simulation zoomed in on Earth. Streams of data showed humanity's transformation. Millions already undergoing quantum integration, consciousness expanding beyond traditional bounds. Then the view shifted to the Varine homeworld, where crystalline structures could serve as perfect quantum processors. Each species' world appeared in turn, showing their unique potential contributions to the galaxy's defense. "We did not come here merely to warn you," Sarah continued, her voice carrying across the simulated space. "We came to show you what we must become." Maya interfaced directly with the station's systems, her consciousness expanding to encompass the entire structure. When she spoke again, her voice resonated through both physical and quantum space. "I am no longer purely human. I am no longer bound by flesh or limited by traditional physics. What I have become, what we all must become, is the next step in cosmic evolution." The simulation shifted again, showing the true nature of Project Oracle. It wasn't just a technological advancement or a weapon. It was a bridge between states of existence, a path to transcendence that could be adapted for any species willing to take the leap. "The Void Weavers consume reality itself," Maya explained, her consciousness now visible as patterns of light within the simulation. "They break down the barriers between dimensions, feeding on the collapse of possibility. We cannot fight them in traditional space. We must meet them in the quantum realm, in the spaces between spaces." The assembly representatives watched in awe as Maya demonstrated humanity's transformation. Her consciousness split into multiple streams, each operating independently yet remaining connected. She existed simultaneously in physical space and quantum reality, her thoughts moving faster than light. "This is what they fear," Sarah added, stepping through the simulation to stand beside Maya's manifested form. "Not our weapons or our technology, but our potential to evolve beyond their understanding. They're accelerating their approach because they recognize in us a force that could actually stop them." The simulation suddenly contracted, bringing them back to the chamber's physical space. Maya's neural interface dimmed as she pulled her consciousness back to more manageable levels, but her eyes still glowed with quantum fire. "We have weeks, not years," she announced to the stunned assembly. "The choice before you now is simple. Begin immediate integration with Project Oracle's protocols, or retreat to your homeworlds and hope the Void Weavers pass you by." Thala's crystalline form shimmered with decision. "The Varine will commit fully to integration. Our entire civilization stands ready." One by one, the other representatives made similar declarations. Even those who had voted against partnership found their resolve weakening in the face of such immediate threat. As the assembly transformed into a war council, Maya felt probability streams shifting around them. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time, she saw paths leading to survival. Humanity's warning had been heard, and the galaxy's response would reshape the very nature of existence itself. The real question now was, would it be enough? 3 weeks after the assembly's decision, the galaxy pulsed with transformation. Maya stood in quantum space, her consciousness spread across thousands of light years, watching as civilization after civilization underwent their evolution. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying, a fundamental reimagining of what it meant to exist. The Varine were the first to complete their integration. Their crystalline bodies, already attuned to complex energy patterns, merged seamlessly with quantum networks. They became living processors, each individual a node in a vast, conscious web of possibility. The first wave approaches, Sarah's voice resonated through quantum space. Her consciousness, like Maya's, had expanded far beyond its original bounds. The outer colonies are reporting dimensional distortions. Maya shifted her attention to the galaxy's edge. The Void Weavers were no longer trying to hide their advance. Vast shadows moved between the stars, their very presence causing reality to unravel. Space itself seemed to fade where they passed, leaving behind regions where the laws of physics broke down entirely. All integrated species, prepare for consciousness transfer. Maya broadcast across both quantum and conventional channels. Phase 1 begins now. Across the galaxy, trillions of beings initiated the protocols they'd spent weeks perfecting. Physical bodies entered suspended animation as their consciousness transferred into the quantum substrate. The galaxy's combined knowledge, culture, and awareness spread through networks humanity had built, creating a unified field of conscious energy that could perceive and interact with all levels of reality. The first contact with the Void Weavers was unlike anything they had simulated. These beings existed primarily in dimensions beyond conventional spacetime, their true forms incomprehensible to normal perception. But to the newly evolved galactic consciousness, they were finally visible in their entirety. Ancient, vast, and hungry, they had consumed galaxies not out of malice, but out of a fundamental drive to break down complex reality into simpler states. They're trying to reverse entropy, Maya realized, the insight spreading instantly through the unified consciousness. Every galaxy they consume brings the universe closer to its original state. The Void Weavers reacted to this understanding. For the first time in their ancient existence, they encountered awareness that could comprehend their nature. Their advance faltered, dark tendrils of void writhing in what might have been confusion. Sarah's consciousness merged with Maya's, their combined awareness reaching out to the ancient entities. Communication was impossible in traditional terms, but in quantum space, understanding flowed through the probability streams themselves. The Void Weavers were not destroyers but gardeners, pruning reality back to its simplest form. They had never encountered resistance because no species had evolved enough to perceive them, let alone challenge their purpose. We offer an alternative, the unified galactic consciousness broadcast into the quantum void. Evolution instead of reduction. Complexity instead of simplicity. A new path forward. The response came not in words but in shifts of probability. The Void Weavers' purpose was fundamental to their existence. They could no more stop their consumption than a star could stop fusion. Yet they had never encountered beings that could exist as they did, moving through multiple dimensions, understanding the deeper patterns of reality. The battle, when it came, was fought not with weapons but with concepts. The unified consciousness of the galaxy pushed back against the void, not destroying but transforming. Where the Void Weavers sought to break down reality, the evolved civilizations reinforced it, strengthening the bonds between dimensions. In the space between moments, between thoughts, the fate of not just one galaxy, but all of reality hung in balance. The Void Weavers' ancient drive to simplify met humanity's relentless push toward complexity and evolution. And then, in a quantum cascade that rippled through all dimensions, something unprecedented occurred. The Void Weavers began to change. The very forces they had used to break down reality were turned inward, transforming their own nature. They're evolving, Maya broadcasted in wonder. We didn't have to defeat them. We just had to show them another way. The dark tendrils of void retreated, not in defeat but in transformation. The Void Weavers had encountered a force that offered them something they had never known existed, the possibility of change without destruction, evolution without loss. As the immediate threat receded, the unified galactic consciousness faced its own choices. They had evolved beyond their original forms, beyond the limitations of physical existence. Return to their previous states was impossible, and perhaps undesirable. We've become something entirely new, Sarah observed, her consciousness resonating with the thoughts of trillions. Not human, not Varine, not any single species, but something greater. Maya felt the quantum streams of probability settling into new patterns. The galaxy had not just survived, it had transcended. The warning that had started everything had led not to destruction, but to transformation beyond anything they could have imagined. In the vast quantum spaces between stars, the combined consciousness of a galaxy contemplated its future. They had evolved past the edge of known existence, and before them stretched infinite possibilities. Humanity's final warning had not been of destruction, but of the need to evolve. And in heeding it, they had not just saved their galaxy. They had changed the very nature of existence itself. The story was not ending, but beginning anew, written in quantum fire across the dimensions of reality.